So here we are on the brand new 2014 Honda VFR800F. Now this should be a real treat for me because I've never ridden a V4 before, but I've always loved that engine note, you know, from the RSV4s and the 2.0s, you know. I've never ridden a V4 that's a VTEC either from Honda, so that should be interesting. I suppose my first impressions of the bike are that, well, the fueling is a bit interesting actually. I'm trying to just baby the throttle here, but it still likes to lurch a bit at around 2,000-3,000 revs. Gearbox is buttery smooth though, very nice. The mirrors are nice too actually. Not too much view of my elbows and more of what's behind me, which is always a plus. The biting point on this is, it's okay, it's kind of like a medium sort of level, if that makes sense. It doesn't bite too early or too far out, just kind of just in between. Oh, yep, that's my fault there. You see, Honda have they've pretty much changed where the indicator and horn is. They've swapped them around, so the indicator's up where you'd normally think the horn is, and the horn is where you thought the indicator is, so you're accidentally pressing the horn.
A few moments later.
Oh, see, I pressed the horn again. The seating position is actually a little sporty. It's not too upright actually, but I can feel also the seat is really comfy. There's a good fair amount of cushioning on this. You're not going to get any sore bums on this one. The seat height is also adjustable actually, and it's on the lowest setting right now. But even for me, I mean, I'm about 5'6" with about 30-inch inseam, and you know, I still don't think I can get both feet comfortably on the floor. It's more of a tiptoe affair, but of course 1 foot on each side is easy. So a few numbers to whet your appetite. It's retailing for $10,499 on the road. It has 105 brake horsepower claimed. It's got a wet weight of around 240 kilograms, which is kind of porky if you think about it. I mean, that's almost as much as a 1200 GS, and this is an 800, so that's a bit interesting. I mean, I don't feel the weight as I'm riding, but when I was moving around a bit, it was kind of hefty, so it's interesting. The bike comes with a lot of stuff actually. You've got ABS as standard, but not linked brakes. I know some people don't like that. I've never ridden a bike with it, so I can't really comment, but it doesn't have that anymore. It comes with traction control, not so much different modes, it's more of an on-off affair. You get heated grips as standard as well, and Honda are really proud of their intelligent self-cancelling indicators, so I'll put that to the test. Even though this bike has traction control, take a look at this switch here. It feels like a bit of an afterthought. It's a bit weird. You've got the heated grip switch here, which I'm not going to turn on, not in this heat. But then, and then the traction control just kind of sits here, which is kind of strange actually. But still, at least you get it, which is nice. I've got to say, it's very tempting to just blip the throttle now and then to hear that V4 purr underneath you. Definitely needs a fruitier can though, for sure. I've got to commend Honda on their dash for this VFR. You've got a big nice analog rev counter in the middle, a digital speedo on the left, a fuel gauge, gear position indicator, a clock, ambient temperature, and then your usual trip meter, odometer. It's a negative style display as well, but it's okay. I mean, it's in bright sunlight right now, and it's very easy to read, so no problems there. That V4 sounds good. The clutch is a little heavy, at least a little heavier than I'd like it to be. I'm not quite sure if I'd be too keen on doing a lot of town work with this. Pickup is good. Nice and torquey from down low, which you kind of expect from a V4. Looking forward to opening her up a bit and seeing what it's like higher up in the rev range. It is a V4 VTEC, but they've actually improved upon it for this model. The previous V4 VTECs have a bit of a lunge past 7k revs, and Honda said that they've tried to mitigate this a bit, so it should be interesting to see what it's like past 7,000 revs. I'm going to give the self-cancelling indicators a go now. So right indicator is on, I turn right, leave it on, leave it on, leave it on. I'm not overriding it, resisting the temptation to override it. It's still, there we go, it cancelled by itself. Nice. Although, it doesn't cancel quick enough for me. So I'm not quite sure what's the point if you're going to override it yourself anyway. So a fairly low speed turn, indicating left. I make the turn. I finish the turn. Indicator still on, indicator still on, and it cancels. Okay, so some varying experiences there. I don't think I have it in me to retrain my muscle memory to not cancel the indicator, at least the cancel indicator spam that we're all used to. So, you know, that kind of feature is nice to have for the odd occasion that you do forget to cancel your indicator, but otherwise, you know, you might as well just override it yourself, really. Yeah, they weren't kidding when they said this is a bit of a sportier ride, because I do actually feel quite tucked in a little bit, which is, you know, not bad, but for some people, you know, who plan to do a lot of distance on it, might not, you know, be open to this kind of riding position. But, you know, it is a sport tourer, so I suppose the emphasis is on the sport, which is, you know, not bad. Oh, I have seemed to have engaged neutral. That's not good. I just wanted to go down to first. Just a very brief walk around of the bike. Hopefully I don't get run over. I quite like the LED lights in the front. In fact, the shape of it almost reminds me of a Panigale. When the bike was first announced, I'll say this again, I think it was in red, and it just felt very Panigale-ish. Gotta love that single-sided swing arm. But it hides behind that massive exhaust, which is just a downright shame, you know? I'm hoping there'll be some aftermarket exhausts out there that are far more shorter. So, we are doing roughly 4,500 revs, but as soon as it goes past 7, it gets very angry. tech just kicked in, yo! Brakes are pretty good. Like I said before, you get ABS as standard, but it's not linked brakes. And I'm just doing 2-finger braking here and I get good feel. Oh, it handles really nicely though. Yeah. You know, it may weigh 240 kilograms, but it just melts away. Oh, this bit of road is notoriously bumpy, and it's handling it okay. So at least out of the box, the suspension is not too shabby. Nice and planted around these bends though. Yeah, I can't say the stock screen does much for wind protection. I'm just getting... I can feel the wind just going past the sides of my helmet, so on the motorway you're probably better off getting a taller screen. Oh, dearie me, went into neutral. It's the second time that's happened though. It's a bit disconcerting. As for commuting on the bike, well, if you're doing a lot of distance on your route, no doubt this will just eat up all the miles. For my type of commute with a lot of city work, I'm not quite sure I'd like to be filtering with this clutch. It's just a tad heavy for me. Or maybe I'm just a wimp now. But it's a little heavier than I would prefer it to be. But if something like that doesn't really bother you, then you know, this could be your next bike. It's comfy. It's fairly sporty for what it is. It's reasonably well priced. And it comes with a lot of goodies. I mean, I love bikes that just come with a lot of stuff, you know. ABS, traction control, heated grips, self-cancelling indicators. You know, it's a nice well-rounded package that you don't have to start tacking bits onto it. Things that I would probably do to it are just a bit more comfier levers, a fruitier sounding exhaust, just to show off that back wheel some more, and a taller screen. But apart from that, you know, this bike is pretty nice out of the box. So could I see myself buying this bike? Probably, although not right now. Again, I don't want to sound horribly ageist here, but I just don't think that I'm quite ready for this style of bike just yet. I'm quite enjoying my Ninja. I'm sure at some point maybe my back can't take that position anymore, and then maybe I'll opt for one of these. But you know, this bike is actually a lovely package, you know, for the money. So yeah, I would buy it. Maybe a little later in life. Ow.